Hello and welcome back to Music Videos on the Radio. It is myself, Alex, and I'm joined by...
Myself, Giovanni.
Nice. So, today we have returned to the internet, our permanent residence. So I don't know how we've returned. We've always been here, but we are here to delve further into... I feel like we're getting less degenerate now. We're coming to the surface, I feel. And maybe one day we'll just do like normal music videos, but for today it's parody videos.
Yeah. Parody videos. And so, well, our videos for today are Doin Your Mom, a classic.
Sorry, what is it?
Doin Your Mom.
Do you mean Doin Your Mom?
Perhaps. What's Up? The He-Man version, which is the video's titled HEYYEYAAEYAA.
It's titled HEYYEYAAEYAA, actually, but
yeah,
I'll let that slide.
And Rappin' for Jesus.
Rappin' for Jesus is right.
And so I need to start by telling you what I think of Doin Your Mom, Alex.
Yeah. Well, okay, you tell me what you think of doing. I'm not sure quite how that works. Doing Your Mom, and then I'll tell you just how I feel about Doing Your Mom.
Yeah, so Doing Your Mom. Well, I guess I should start by saying, because I think this is a recurring note for this episode, which is the song was obviously created with the video as a necessary component.
Yes.
Like if you just watch, if you just listen to the song on its own, that's like really grating.
Yes.
And so in that sense, I suppose it's as part of our criteria is how well the video accompanies the song. I'd say this one perfectly accompanies the song.
Well, in the same way that Chris Chan ruined our grading scheme, I'm thinking that this one might be doing the same too, because I will not doubt that the music video is highly tied into the joke of the song. And the question is, if that joke is completely unfunny, then I'm gonna have some gripes with the music videos for not realizing that, at least, and trying to go somewhere else with it. So the real question is, how funny was it when Your Mom was done?
Well, I guess you can laugh at me for this, but I think...
You liked it when Your Mom was done.
I think the video is kind of clever because it is so dedicated to being as unclever as possible. And so they've taken the idea of the middle school insult of "I'm doing your mom," and they've pushed it to its ultimate conclusion, perhaps even past that ultimate conclusion. Because all these guys, they're obviously in their late 20s at least.
Yes.
And I
want to say this shot right here is like they've actually, it feels like a home project effectively, because like this is the true diverse group of friends that you like think you have stock footage of, but that's the actual, like, oh, these are clearly just people that we know and who may live in the area, and we've got them to be in our video.
Yeah.
That was at like 117 for reference.
But these guys, they've dressed up in their hoodies, like they're dressed up like middle schoolers too.
This is
the
true.
way that middle schoolers would say, "Oh yeah, I'm cool. I'm wearing my hoodie. I've got my glasses, my baseball cap on sideways."
Yeah.
And they jump around in front of a bad green screen a lot of the time and push their faces obnoxiously close to the camera and really emphasize how many pimples they have on their faces too.
Really? Okay. I didn't have that emphasized to me, but were you just like hawk-eyed enough to see that?
I guess so.
Okay.
And they say things like giggity giggity giggity, and they play
But I mean, to be fair, Mac Daddy says miggity miggity miggity.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. They're taken from the greats.
So they know exactly how the youth speak.
And they play their guitar solos either with air guitars or on a Rock Band controller.
Yes, at the end. I mean, that just seems like a direct slight to the one Chris Chan himself.
I think this might predate the Chris Chan video.
I think it's after, actually. 2010. It's very near. As a Christorian myself, I'm going to guess that the Chris Chan one came first. I mean, he did everything first. He did Let's Plays first. I'm not sure if you have you heard
Was he
this
the
allegation.
first one to do Let's
Yeah, he's
Plays?
the first one because he posted a video of him playing, I want to say, Pokemon or like Animal Crossing or something, and before he became completely notorious, Nintendo actually featured it in like a magazine or something, like a digital magazine.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
That's also out of character for Nintendo.
I know it was a moment of community and professional behavior. But that aside,
other positives of this video, because I'd say, I mean, I don't know how much I can say those last things are positive when your blocking is intentionally obnoxious.
Mm-hmm.
But the opening shot at this point, honestly iconic.
Yes, with them walking down.
Yeah,
the street.
with them walking down the street, and it jump cuts. I've like in rhythm with the song.
Yeah.
That's pretty classic. If a
It is
YouTube video can be classic.
There's a lot of that's also classic music video too. Are you saying that jump cutting is classic YouTube or classic?
Well, no, that specific shot of them walking down the street.
Oh, it has aged and become classic.
Yeah, like that is well recognized.
Okay, I'm thinking about this more in the because I was not on the internet in 2010, but I was on the music video consumption train in 1993. So I recognize a lot of these parts are similar to like the Beastie Boys kind of, who were also a three-piece, also had an insane white boy nasal aesthetic, and also there are a lot of like similarities to when he says something like "What's up?" or something like "Yo, what's up?" or something like that is very similar to Brass Monkey, that other video or song I sent to you, where he says something very similar, and that opening intro is very similar to the Sabotage video by the Beastie Boys, where the three of them are walking down the street and engaging in 70s detective style activities and looking cool.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that they've almost dabbled in like the trashy teenage aesthetic of the past, while simultaneously setting the standard for trashy teenage aesthetic of at the time what was the present. So that is actually how they've managed to balance that is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I think the beginning might be the best part because it has the best sense of timing, where they keep repeating "Doin Your Mom" over and over.
Yes.
And they do it so many times. Right when I start to think, oh my goodness, is this whole song just them saying "Doin Your Mom"? That's when the first verse starts.
Exactly.
So they've figured out right at the point where people would get annoyed and maybe click off the video, and that's when they switch over.
Yes. So it is certainly true to its vision, and I guess my follow-up question is, this is a joke song. Is the joke funny?
I'm really not sure.
Yeah.
I think it is sometimes. Like, I think some of the lines are funny. Like when he says, "She had 2 gallons of milk and I was staring at her jugs," because that's again firmly rooted in the middle schooler mentality, but it's wittier than what the average middle schooler would say, while still
That's
being
true.
believable that a middle schooler would say it.
That's true.
And so, I mean, this will probably be an odd comparison, but in the same way that in Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, like you wouldn't expect a 13-year-old to be able to write that book, but it's still believable that the 13-year-old is saying it from the first person narration.
Right, okay. I guess my question is, for every good line like that, is it not true that there is a line akin to "Every night I tap that"? How many times? Over 9,000.
There is
possibly the least funny joke I've ever heard.
Well, do you know what over 9,000 means?
It's a reference to when someone says over 9,000. I'm pretty sure in an anime, right?
Yeah, in Dragon Ball, the
Yes.
Z, they
Yes.
they measure his power level, and it's over 9,000.
Okay.
So, but that's another thing.
So this is a joke because it references something that is actually funny.
Well, it's a joke because it references something that middle schoolers would like, which is Dragon Ball Z. And this is the thing. I think that's actually one of the better references. I think the worst one is to Dolly Parton hair, because I don't know how many middle schoolers in 2010 would know who Dolly Parton is.
I mean, this was before Miley Cyrus helped her stage her comeback, so with her own cover of Jolene. But yeah, that one's weak. I mean, I think the over 9,000 is a little bit. It's almost a little bit difficult to say because these are YouTubers of 2010, and to my knowledge, YouTube of 2010, actually YouTube in general, is geared towards children, right? So.
Yeah, well, I
Especially
suppose it
I wanna
depends
say in
on what
2010.
YouTube, but I'm not sure. Like, college humor was popular in 2010.
But
and-
college humor is not actually funny to like college students. It's,
Yeah, I'm not sure what the target demographic is because like especially some of their earlier skits were actually just like oh, you know, when you're in the exam and the exam goes by quickly. Like that's something that's completely unrelatable to middle schoolers.
yeah, I mean, we went through a grueling middle school with plenty of exams, but but I sort of see your point. What I'm just trying to say is that it's maybe this is just because I don't understand who these people actually are and to what extent they're putting on characters, but it can also be seen as just these people are actually this way. Like these are actually like the YouTuber. I think the almost the stereotype of them is someone in their mid-20s who is basically not grown up and is still like playing Call of Duty and for an audience of teenagers because in reality they themselves are a teenager.
I think this is very very clearly them doing a character, but I think the better question was the one you had before, which is how worthwhile is it to watch them do an obnoxious character?
Yeah.
Because like things like the especially when they air guitar and play on the Guitar Hero thing, that's just like so knowingly ironic. Like they're
Yeah.
just like, ha, look at us, or we should be guitar soloing.
Yes.
Or in when it's just them standing in front of like the blue background and jumping around.
Mm. I want to say like I think the video maybe, and this is a positive for it, it might actually help cement the fact that they're playing characters because lines like every night I'm gonna say it again, every night I tap that how many times, over 9,000, like that in out of context, and the video being something that provides context, that could just as well fit into like a like, you know, those movies like is it like Scary Movie or
Yeah, okay, those are really unfunny.
those are extraordinarily unfunny, but that is a joke that would actually be in there that is like serious,
yes,
right?
it would be.
So it's difficult to tell without context whether that is like just a reference that's supposed to be funny to middle schoolers because middle schoolers watch the show and they actually think over 9,000 jokes are funny, right? And those middle schoolers are supposed to be the audience of the video, right? Or the song.
I suppose. Well, it's kind of making fun of the middle schoolers who would be the audience, though.
Yeah. And so just in virtue of that, it's going to almost like attract an audience of middle schoolers who don't understand that it's a joke.
Yeah. But like another thing is like the like every single line pretty much is firmly tasteless in that middle schooler way, and
Yeah.
I had to
Yeah.
note the most tasteless one, which is definitely when he refers to domestic abuse as though it's kinky sex. When he
Do you want
talks,
to repeat that verbatim for
the
the listeners?
I don't think I wrote down the line what it was verbatim.
Tragic.
But it was something like yeah, your mom likes the rough stuff. She likes me to to what's the guy's name? Chris. It's Chris something.
Let me just. She likes. Okay. Anyone who's putting together like an edit of my voice, here's some material for you. She likes rough sex with handcuffs, and I'll be honest.
You can't even say it.
No, I forgot it was this. Did you remember it was this? This because this is recent at this time. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
She She likes me to Chris Brown her when she acts like Rihanna.
Yeah. So
That is actually pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's that is so tasteless. That one is actually pretty funny. That
yeah.
might be the funniest line there, to be honest. Like the when she acts like Rihanna, because it's so unnecessary to get the joke across. Like it's already obvious. Like you know, she's a little suicidal. She likes me to Ted Bundy her when she acts like a woman. She like wants me to Jack Ripper her when she acts like a prostitute.
Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, because it works on so many layers in that way.
That one does, yeah.
Because it's just an unnecessary appendage when the punchline's already obvious, and it's this bizarre comparison between like kinky sex and actual domestic abuse. There's a pretty firm difference between those, but it's very much a middle schooler thing to be like, oh yeah, I know what this is, and still not know what it is.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess the question I think we can agree then that it is.
Yeah.
Some of it is actually kind of funny. I'm starting to think that the music video is not that great though, because I think that like that one is sort of funny. Some of these lines are funny in how stupid they are, more so than how obnoxious they are, if that makes sense. Now maybe if I was a victim of domestic abuse, I would find them more obnoxious rather than just stupid. But I feel like the aesthetic of the video is more on the obnoxious side, and the lyrics are more on the stupid side. And I think the stupid is less insulting because it's letting me in on the joke. It's suggesting that I am smart enough to realize that the lyrics are stupid. But the obnoxious video is just impossible to get away from.
I think that they complement each other very well, and I think this is a vision. And that vision is pushed to its ultimate end goal, but unfortunately, that vision is not one that I would say has superb artistry.
Yeah.
So, I think I'm gonna give this one a 3 out of 5.
Okay, I think I'm also gonna give it a 3 out of 5, because as you say, the vision is certainly there, and the video does help. It does sell the joke a bit. It's just it makes it a little bit less bearable, if that makes sense. It takes the video takes the joke further, but it makes it a little bit more unbearable, if that is sort of way of putting it. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So
but I don't know if there's anything else I can say about Doing Your Mom.
I mean, what else needs to be said? What's done is done. Okay, so that's a 3 from both of us. So next, I suppose we move on to, wait, let me just make sure I get this right. HEYYEAAEYAA.
Come on,
let
it out. Say it. HEYYEAAEYAA.
Most of these are actually ya's in how it's written in the video, because it's AE rather than EA. But as besides the point. What do you think of this one? This is another joke video of sorts.
I think this one is actually quite an ingenious bit of musical parody.
Okay.
And because it combines these probably diametrically opposed sources, and it somehow synthesizes them perfectly. And I think it's just incredible how he managed to find all these different He-Man clips that perfectly match the song.
I started to think, is it possible that because, like with this animation, a lot of it is just like reusing the same clips, and like He-Man himself, like his skin. Wait, that's not actually the character's name.
The character is I haven't seen He-Man, but I'm pretty sure that the character, his name is like Prince Adam, and then he turns into He-Man, which is his like superhero identity.
I'll just call him the Man. His complexion is like the same throughout his face, right? So I thought maybe they just like cut different bits of his mouth moving from other images and just like put it over top. and you wouldn't be able to see like the edges of the cut because it's all the same color or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But that's
if
how
they-
believable it is.
Yeah, it's and so it's in a lot of ways it's like they use the animation very creatively in that way.
Mhm.
Like especially because He-Man obviously has very jerky animation, like a lot of 80s animation.
Yes.
And so they like really exaggerate the jerkiness to make it look like he's actually dancing a lot of the time. And
A lot of the time.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And like just the sheer number of moments where things match up perfectly, like when he says, "Oh my God, do I try?" and he starts and he just looks so crestfallen.
Yeah.
Or and especially they wrote a whole extra verse that isn't even in the original song.
Really?
About having to hide your feelings away.
Yes, they did write that. I
Yeah.
noticed that part.
And that one's so great because it adds in the subplot of the gay romance, which I think is actually really well handled. Where especially He-Man's doing these really funny winks and nods and things like that all the time, and the other guy, his name's like Duncan or something.
Okay.
I think so. That's what it said on the.
Oh, the guy with the mustache.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He tears up as he's saying, "You've got to hide your feelings."
Yeah. Right here at around 1:45 or so.
Yeah.
This is true. Yeah, there it is at 1:40, 1:50. I suppose there are certain. I actually liked sort of if you could call it directing or blocking, at certain points. I enjoyed at about a minute. The man is being wrestled by this monster guy, and then as he begins to pop off in his SJW style on this man, talking about his feelings, he just suddenly gets teleported out of his grasp and is like standing behind him, and the monster now is like completely off put by the fact that he's being told off because the patriarchy, he's upholding the patriarchy, and that's so He-Man with his brute facts manages to remove that man from the equation, and then I believe that's Skeletor who comes in afterwards.
Yes, that is Skeletor.
And gives a very, very powerful reading of "And He Prays."
Yes, and he prays.
Yes, exactly. Which after our recent karaoke outing, that's sort of like your version of David Byrne right there, where you do the "This is not my beautiful car."
It's
and
automobile.
He prays. That's pretty cool. And once again, Skeletor seems to be above him because when it cuts back to He-Man, he's looking up, and then in the next shot, again, He-Man draws his sword, and now Skeletor's looking up at him. So just by communicating the struggle of the gay man, he just ascends out of all of his enemies' grasps and demands the revolution. So that I will say is good. Do you think there are any drawbacks to this video? Because
No, I don't think there are any.
Wow.
I think this is gonna be an easy 5 from me.
wow, okay, that's actually incredible because there are so many bad parts of this video.
What?
First of all, like this is maybe a particular YouTube problem, but only in the age of YouTube and the online video is the thumbnail of a music video also, I would say, critical to people's perception of that video. Now, I'm pretty sure the thumbnail, or the image that's most frequently passed around when it comes to this video, is the shot of He-Man's head in front of these really garish sparkles and rainbow colors behind him. Now, that is one of the ugliest compositions I've seen, especially with the sparkles going by at like a blinding pace. And it is repeated so often in the video that, oh my goodness, it's just such an eyesore. That is really a major drawback. And it just has other things which we've sort of agreed, I would say, are annoying. Like literalization. When I step outside, here we see him walking outside, there he goes, and he moves outside. And what is this at 20 seconds? He's just jerking his arm up. And is that a dance too, Giovanni?
Yeah, he's dancing.
Yeah, they make him dance for our amusement. He's just putting his arm up and down. Like, that is...
He's taking a deep breath. And
yeah,
I don't think literalizations are necessarily bad, especially when it's part of the joke, because it's not like this is the actual artist creating their music video. It's them finding the footage from a show that has nothing to do with the original song.
Okay.
And managing to match it.
That's fair. I think what I find really, really troublesome about this video, and this, to an extent, I actually don't mind the song. It's almost a little surreal because the vocals, they're double tracked, I think, so they're like two vocals, and because they're both performances are not the same, they keep diverging from each other very frequently, which I think is pretty funny. But the main drawback of the video, I guess, then, is that He-Man is gay is simply not funny. I have no connection to He-Man whatsoever. This is like a dead cartoon from a soon-to-be-dead generation. And the fact that he dresses up in a... Or I don't even know. Like, what is it? Like, he's once stood in front of rainbows, so that makes him look gay. He gets
I don't think
wrestled.
that's the joke. I think the joke is that it's something that's unexpected for He-Man, because the He-Man cartoon, he's like incredibly macho throughout the whole way, and
Okay.
in this song he's like they're actually making him a man who is like singing about his feelings and things like that, and it's more so the joke is just that it's out of character, not that haha it's funny he's gay.
Okay.
Isn't it funny that this is something that just wouldn't happen in the He-Man show?
Okay. I mean, that is certainly a fair impression, interpretation of it, I guess. I actually looked into this song because the original song is titled much more easily to say something like Fabulous Superpowers or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was ripped by a fellow onto YouTube who titled it differently.
Yeah. And he cut out the intro and outro.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if you watched that longer bit with the intro and outro.
No, I did not.
I think in that he just walks in front of a black background and it starts off very somber and slow before he gets hyped and he really gets into it. So some people like that one more, some people not as much. The one that's trimmed down with the intro and outro gone that we watched, that one's the more viral version.
Okay.
Because it's just the exciting part, just when he's getting hyped.
Just when he gets real high, you know?
Yeah, and the intro and outro also contains the crucial information that the reason he needs to sing this song is because that's how he powers up into He-Man. And how he changes from being a prince.
Okay.
And then the other thing that I think is funny is He-Man is literally the prince. Like, he's just in charge of the kingdom, and he's singing about how the institution is holding him down. He is the institution.
Okay, see, these are many... This is sort of the issue, I guess, that we're getting into here, is how extra textual should we be, or how contextual isn't that what the phrase that we used last time when we were talking?
I think it's intertextual.
Yes, something. The question is, how much of other text should we consider when evaluating a piece of art? And I guess that is probably a larger question, but since I did not know of these assumptions about He-Man, it's really not funny for me because my expectations are not really subverted at all. So that's why I didn't find it funny, really.
That's too bad. You missed out.
I feel like you've missed out because you're the one who's somehow been exposed to enough He-Man to have expectations for what the character should be doing.
I don't know if I don't know how that's me missing out.
That's you having spent time into learning about He-Man.
I think if you just spend enough time on the internet, because you said a lot of things that were untrue. Like you said that this is a dead cartoon. It's actually still popular.
Why?
I've
You
never.
don't even need to answer. Just it shouldn't be a 2. It is a 2 for me. It's not a 1 because it's not like it's not disgusting. There are just certain shots which I find to be really repulsive and used repeatedly, and yeah, just not. I guess it's sort of for there to be any joke to it. Really, you need the video. Otherwise, because there's no reference to He-Man in the actual lyrics or the song. So it is pulling something, but really just not in a very pleasing way for me. So it's a 2 for me, and somehow a 5 for Giovanni.
Yeah.
This is the only one after Black Holes. Okay, okay. I want to try and talk you down from it. If this is what being a He-Man superfan gets you, then sure, so be it for you. Now it's time to bring in my whole crew.
Is your crew big and it keeps getting bigger?
It is okay. Here, I was willing to read out the "Doin Your Mom" lyrics. I'm thinking that I am not willing, lest I get canceled, to read out the "Rappin' for Jesus" lyrics. But why is that, Johnny? Would you like to explain why I'm hesitant to do that?
Well, his crew is big and it keeps getting bigger because Jesus is his brother. Let's say
his nibba, as they say, as I was told I was once upon a time by Asad Farouk. Anyway,
whoa, you're just gonna out this man first and last name?
Yeah, let his name be cast upon the internet. That's what he called me, but it was in an affectionate way because I was part of his crew.
But this Rappin' for Jesus is a great example of metafiction.
Yes.
And because it is the video, everything about it purports to be a video that was made for like Sunday school,
like a community outreach VHS that you might like pass around in like the 90s or early 2000s from a Christian church.
And it's very dedicated to that. And I think the only thing that gives it away that it is a work of fiction is when she says, "I turn the other cheek," and she shows her ass, because the type of Christian who would make this would be too prudish to do that. And so that's a little out of character.
Perhaps.
But everything else is so perfectly in character.
For the most part. So I did some digging on this video. And there are a number of reasons why, just to be clear, why we're certain that this is a joke, for the most part. One, at the end, the video has a link to a... Maybe this is even also part of the joke, too. The video obviously can't... You can't click on a hyperlink in a video, but it shows a link to a website for the church that this is apparently done for. And the website was made after the church apparently closed, and it's closed possibly because they didn't want people to realize that it never existed in the first place. So there's that. The website was made after the church apparently closed, and also at one point, this was not something that I found. This is what I learned in my research. At one point, he points to, at around 25 seconds, he points to a example of the youth. And as you can probably tell from the resolution and the way they're dressed, this is actually a stock photo from like the 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously this was not made in like 1990 or 2000, because that means that Mr. Colerick has grabbed a stock image from the future to put in his video. So just to be clear, it is a fake video. That's why we're pretty sure of that. With that disclaimer aside, I forgot where we were going with that, but
well, I think that's important, because I think that's really the strength of the video is how successful. I mean, again, this is something where they have taken a vision and brought it to its fruition, and I think this is a much better vision than the last one was.
Yes, it's definitely a lot funnier, I would say. My question is, when you say how accurate it is, are you saying how like accurate to that time period the video seems to be?
I think it's more accurate to the type of character that they're portraying. because like I've been to like Christian summer camps,
Mm-hmm.
and this would be the kind of thing that they would show to us, where they'd be like, "Oh yeah, we're cool. We know what's up. See, this is how cool we've done a hip hop video to show how cool we are."
Right.
And then it's like a bunch of like kind of fat middle-aged people standing around posing in sunglasses, and those are some of the funniest shots when they either have the quick zoom in or the
Yeah,
quick
yeah,
zoom
that
out
one
where
is
he's
really good. And
nodding in front of the chain link fence.
yeah, that one is used repeatedly, and it's he's definitely looking very cool. Those are very Y2K glasses too, and I'm trying to get my hands on some myself, to be honest. But yeah, those ones are great. But
And the other thing that's really good is the guy who's like playing the keyboard, who's just on the edge of the blocking.
He's like introduced right from the beginning. He's in the opening shot basically.
Yeah, and they've managed to expertly block it to make it look amateur, where he's almost always half outside the frame.
Yeah, well, it looks he's got one hand on like a headset, and it's seeming like another hand. I'm not sure if it's like in his pocket or
I think
like
he's playing a keyboard.
okay, yeah, you do see him from behind in a bit later, but
And then he walks around with this smoke machine.
okay.
And that's
See, here's where I'm going to tell you my story of how I approached this video. So I knew the joke of the video, right? And I actually read the Wikipedia page first, and on it says something like Christian spokespeople were very critical of the video, saying that it played into Christian stereotypes that were not accurate, blah 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 blah, right? And I was like, okay, I can see that they almost have a point. If people were legitimately tricked into thinking that this was real, then really, what is the point of the joke? It's not a joke at that point, it's just a shock video, right?
If people were tricked into thinking it's real.
If people were legitimately tricked into thinking it's real.
Well, I think the joke is that they managed to get it so close.
But this might be like a situation where the value of the art is almost dependent on the perceiver, because if everyone was tricked into thinking that this was like a 1998 video that was actually made in serious, then it's not funny anymore. It's people will just be legitimately outraged by it.
Well, I think it would still be funny in the same way that it's like funny in a kind of more it's funny in a more pessimistic way, where it's like, wow, there are actually people like that.
I guess.
And,
but
like,
then if there aren't actually people like that, then that's why I would think that this would be like a pretty bad video if it legitimately tricked everyone. Because if this person doesn't exist, you've just basically successfully lied to someone, and they're thinking, haha, it's so funny that these people actually exist, and they don't actually exist. You've propaganded them into having a laugh when almost,
I suppose.
right? So that's why I was fully prepared to be like, oh well, this is not gonna be funny. Like it's just going to be like, they're just going to reuse the same joke of using the N-word, and it's going to be like just to shock people, and then it's like, okay, I guess this one person was racist. That's sort of ridiculous, but and if it's fake, then it's again just like propaganda basically. But then I actually watched the video, and you say that this is accurate, but there are some parts that are just too far for me. Like, why would this person be playing the keyboard just out of shot? There's no keyboard in the song.
I think that's part of it. With there is a keyboard. See, that's what he's doing. He's playing
I'm
the
not even
keyboard.
sure if it's a keyboard, or I think it might be like a turntable. Oh, maybe it's a keyboard. But either way, I was like,
because
okay, that's
the joke is. I mean, do I really have to explain the joke? It's that they're like, they think they're like cool and on the ball, and they're just kind of out of it.
Yeah, yes, exactly. But I mean, I think part of the joke is that this is how should I put this? Like, it's clear that it is a joke. Is what I got from the video. Right?
Yeah.
Like, in the world of this video, it's funny that supposedly these people are serious when they're clearly just like out of touch, right?
Yeah.
But to the viewer, no, it should be obvious that these aren't real people and that they're making fun of people who are actually similar. If that makes sense, right? So it's not like propaganda or like a smear campaign, because to anyone who actually sees this, it should be obvious that this isn't literally the way Christians are, like to this extent. They probably wouldn't say some of the lyrics in this video, but
I think,
but it's more like it's in that spirit. Like it's like the Doin Your Mom, where it's like it's taking how out of touch people are to the extreme, to make fun of the fact that people are that way to a lesser extent.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
and some of the lines are actually like in the same way as before. They're rather clever. Like,
some of them are very
especially
funny.
he's a life changer, miracle arranger, born to the virgin, mom in a manger, water to wine. He's a drink exchanger.
No, but that's really good. But the I think the real punchline is after that, where he says
And he died for your
and
sins.
he died for your sins, exactly, because he goes on this long spiel of the list of all the things that he's done, and they're all rhyming, and then he cuts to his dour end, as they, I'm pretty sure, jump cut to his, like, an image of him crucified on the cross.
Yeah.
which is the sort of funny part, is that this the pastor Colerick, supposedly, is taking a rather light approach now to this rather serious topic. Like, he throws in his gruesome demise as as part of these bars of how epic he was, right? So that was quite funny. Just to go, now that I've just set this up, that I think it's like, it's impressive that it's accurate, but it's still clear that it's a joke. Like, if nothing really did it quite like when the guy behind him came in with
The smoke machine.
with a smoke machine. Like, at first, also, I thought it was actually even funnier, although it would have been slightly unrealistic. I thought, because you can see he's wearing white, I thought he was like a priest, like a Catholic or Orthodox priest, and like, rather than using incense, he was smoking it up with a smoke machine. But either way, that's also still quite funny. And now I think we're just looking, the Burn in Hell bar.
Yeah, and just like all sorts of things like that, like calling God the original G.
Well, that's funny as a song, but the video definitely brings that in with the jump cut to and he died for your sins thing, with the people going on things in the background, and in terms of lyrics, I think this is also sort of funny, where when they mention being an American, I believe her name is Mary Sue, wife of Jim Colerick, says, "I don't blaspheme and I don't brag. I don't cuss and my pants don't sag. I do exude a little Christian swag, and I'm proud to be an American." And I'm pretty sure that's the sort of joke where you're supposed to, your mind is supposed to bring you to where the end of that sentence should actually go, because it comes up like a syllable short, basically. And I wonder what ends with swag. So that was another funny one. It's fag, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. That was my Doin Your Mom type bars right there. Yeah, we've actually seen now both sides of that joke, where you make it funny by being so explicit in what you're referring to, and then this type of joke where you leave it out so that everyone else can infer how the bar should actually end. So I thoroughly enjoyed that as well, I will say. What else can be said? I guess now, as you mentioned that it's impressive how accurate it is, I'm going to hold you to your previous opinions here, because this is a scholastic product that we deliver here.
Of course.
When we were talking about the Black Sabbath video, I said if that video for Paranoid was made like in 2000 or something, and was an attempt to look like the old white room style videos of the 60s and 70s, I would say, would that make it a better video? And I think we both agreed it wouldn't, because I'm not sure really explain why, but
so why this one is good by
because it's
parodying
accurate.
a low quality video. Well, the parody is, it's just the jokes are funnier is really the big part of it.
Mhm.
Because like with parody, it seems kind of obvious to me, parody's supposed to be funny.
Yes.
And so if your goal is to like with Black Sabbaths, if their goal was to parody white room style videos by being low budget, like I don't think there's really anything about it that's funny, because they didn't push it quite far enough. But with this one, they did manage to push it a little far, like with especially the shots of the guy like trying to dance and he's doing like slow motion weird things, or the PowerPoint type wipes that just happen frequently. It's
Yes.
they've understood where the line would be for like for an accurate pastiche, and they've gone just over it.
Yes. That's I think how I would, similar to how I would phrase it. I was thinking like the Black Sabbath video, if it was accurate, that would be an achievement, certainly. Like if it was made in the 2000s and was actually like an accurate recreation of an old video, that would be impressive. But it wouldn't really, I'm going to use my classic patented gamer term here, it wouldn't really synergize with the themes or ideas of the song, right?
Yeah.
But in this case, it highlights the joke. I think it helps the viewer see that this actually could have been a community's outreach project, like that you would distribute on VHS in the 90s or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't make you think, it's not accurate to the point that it makes you think that these are actually Christians, but it does like persuade you into seeing it, persuade you into thinking that it could have been, like it very well could have been. By putting it in like that language of the, of the wipe, of the green screen,
and
of
and
the
it's
grainy
especially
footage.
great how the wipe is like a diamond that goes outwards from a close up on his shoes, and he's not wearing particularly nice shoes either. They're just sneakers.
Yeah, there's like the block rotate one.
Yeah.
That's another classic. And I guess while we're talking about how it's an accurate recreation and how that actually helps it and isn't just like a sort of besides the point thing, I think hats off to the true Jim Colerick actor, because this man like definitely gets this shot in particular, where like anytime he's just dancing and off the mic, it's like it's highly convincing that this is actually like all these shots when Mary Sue is rapping and Jim Colerick is just like really hamming it up off the camera. really hits the sweet spot.
And that's emphasized especially by the kind of awkward blocky of her head just being outside the top of the frame, and they like zoom in and out a few times to get her to be in the right place, and it's still wrong because Jim Colerick is then half off the screen, or the guy playing the keyboard is half off the screen and half obscured by her.
Yeah. And there are a lot of other like even the small details. Just seeing this again, like the fact it's almost similar in the Black Sabbath video, how the background is not quite large enough, so you can see like just random chairs and stuff off to the side. like they really just cranked this one out in like an afternoon before Jim had to work on his sermon and Mary Sue needed to get back to Sunday school or something.
Bake apple pies in all likelihood.
Bake apple pies, exactly. Man, when we get to Devo, it's going to be so good. Besides the point. Whip It reference. So yeah, I think the only thing that I started to wonder, just because these actors are just so legendary, I wonder if they actually I wonder if they actually said like the N-word in this.
I think so.
Because it's sometimes
Well, because it's that's the other part of what's funny is that's normally such an emotionally charged word, and they just say it so casually, just like, yeah, I'm in the hood.
yeah. Because sometimes their mouths are actually slightly out of sync with what they're saying, but hey, they're pushing their upper ears and they got a lot of words to yeah, that's pretty good. A great outro too when Jim says I'm freestyling and she says, "See here she says hit me, but it's a little out of tune with the actual little out of time with her actual mouth, but you know, can't be perfect. And if anything that just goes into the amateur style that they're going for. So I think this is going to be really, we had nothing negative to say about it, to be honest. I guess the stock image is sort of like the only thing that could possibly bring you out of the full immersion. It's at least a 4 for me. What about you, Giovanni?
Yeah, I think this has got to be a 5. It's because I think this one is like even funnier than the the He-Man one.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna go with a 4 because again, I think these videos are just perfect for your previous experience. You have the He-Man experience, you have the Christian experience, and I went to a hip downtown Christian youth group, so there was no attempt to. The pastor simply was a G. He didn't have to tell people he was a G. So, yeah, I'm gonna stick with a 4. And here we are again at, I believe, the end of the podcast. And guess what we have not done at this point?
We have not selected what our next episode is.
Welcome to the recurring weekly, 8-day at least, struggle that we go through.
Well, one song we found out that Iron Man also has a video, which is also off of the Paranoid album.
Yeah, in addition to Iron Man, we also have The Genie by David Bowie off of Aladdin Sane. We have Money off of Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. And our first fully anime album. Nope, jokes, of course not, because this is my contribution. It is This Town Ain't Big Enough for the Both of Us by Sparks off of their potentially debut album. I'm not sure about that, though. Known as Kimono My House. And we will see you for that. Any parting words, Giovanni?
Just as usual, thanks for listening.